Okay, I think we can get going. Thank you for joining us for Math Camp In. So you hopefully are in the right place. Math Camp In, some more great resources to engage students in mathematics. And your speaker today is Kelli Shrewsberry. She is the Executive Director of the Teaching and Learning Collaborative. So I will send it off to Kelli.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I'm super excited that you're here today, mainly because it's Pi Day. Like, if you don't know Pi Day, we should be celebrating everything 3.14. So March 14th, celebrate with some pie later. And I love that we're able to present on Pi Day, so even better. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here and we'll get started. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see that one. And then let me open the chat because we'll need that too. And Stacey, you'll come to learn that I'm pretty punny. I feel like I'm really punny, but they're pretty corny. So, so stay tuned. So again, just super excited to talk with you all today about Math Camp In. We just, love this resource and want to share it with the world. So I'm super excited that you're here. You'll get lots to take back, and then hopefully we'll stay connected too. So Math Camp In, we have designed for grades pre-K through grade 4. And really it's a great engagement for students and families. We created this a long time ago, and we keep adding to it each year. So it continually changes. TLC, so the Teaching and Learning Collaborative, I'll tell you a little bit about me here in a minute, but TLC is a nonprofit organization. We're from Ohio. So if you're from Ohio, give a little shout out in the chat. We'll do introductions here in just a second. And our focus is professional development and resources for formal and informal educators pre-K through grade 12. Certainly we're talking today about Math Camp In, but lots of resources for you to use. So we're gonna start off with your camp name. You have to have an official camp name to be a math camper. So you're gonna take the first initial of your first name and the first initial of your last name, and you're going to create your camp name. And then if you're able to drop it in the chat, I say drop it in the chat. And then if you want to also kind of tell where you're from, what you do, that's kind of a fun way to get us started. So I'll give everybody a minute to create their camp name, add it to the chat, a little bit about who you are. Ben, I love binocular sphere. I don't think I've seen that one before. Awesome. Lightning bug centimeter. Riveting metric. And lots of Ohio folks. I love that. Marshmallow rhombus. That might be my new favorite. So I'll give you just another minute. Make sure we get everybody. So while you're dropping those in, we have kids do this too. So if you're using this, as an after school or a summer program, or, lots of different ways we can talk through, the kids love their camp name. So we'll talk a little bit. I'll show you a couple images and whatnots, but, Oriental Trading Company is our favorite. You pretty much just drop in the search term camp and you get a ton of resources. One of our favorites are little name tags. And then we have the kids put their camp name tags, name badge on there too. So lots of fun. See if we kind of got everybody. Tennessee's in the house. So welcome, glad to meet you all. I'm Kindling Sphere, AKA Kelli Shrewsberry. I am a teacher on special assignment. I love saying that because I feel very James Bond being on special assignment, but I'm on loan from a school district as the director of the Teaching and Learning Collaborative. So, I love the work we do. We're staffed by educators. who are designing programs and resources that can then get used by lots and lots of people. I started Math Campin' when I actually taught second grade, so I'm excited, every year about how we add to the program. I have to say my favorite story is when we had about 100 second grade students camping, and we actually did it as an overnight. They'd come back to school, they'd hike all the trail posts, they'd spend the night in the gym, and then wake up the next morning and leave. And there was one time we tried to stop them to eat pizza, and no one wanted to stop doing math to eat pizza. So we figured we were onto something good. We can't wait to kind of hear your stories as you use these resources with students. Lots of them are free, so we'll talk through several of the trail posts and kind of the format of a Math Campin'. I'm pretty flexible, so as you have questions, drop those in the chat. Katie's helping kind of field the chat, and then we'll hike the mathematical trail together. So I just have to say, a huge thank you to American Electric Power and the AEP Foundation. They continue to support Math Campin' and lots of programs. And over the past 2 years, they've provided funding so that everyone across the world has access to these resources for free. So we'll make sure that you know how to get them. We'll talk about lots of different strategies and formats to use Math Campin' resources so that you can do that too. We know that resources have been downloaded by educators and families in about 22 states. So if your state is not on here, we would love to add it. So, once you get going and start using some resources, just let us know. We'll add it to the map. And then the other thing I'd say is if you're multitasking today or even later, make sure you stay connected. We're on Twitter. We use the hashtag Math Campin'. If you're in Ohio, especially, we do lots of workshops that are actually funded by the Ingram White Castle Foundation, AEP Foundation. And then you get all of the stuff, right? You get a good workshop, you get lots of resources, and then we're also scaling that to other states as well. So we love partners, we love to travel. So, we're always looking for ways to connect. So let's kind of talk a little bit about what a Math Campin' is, and then we're going to try a couple of the trail posts virtually together, just kind of fun. So Math Campin' has 3 different, I'd say, grade bands. So we've got a pre-K kindergarten. In each of them, kids hike to 7 different trail posts. Trail posts to us are just really great mathematical activities. Once kids solve them, you earn a camp badge, which is kind of fun. And then we'll talk about what the badges do. We also have a Math Campin' for grades 1-2. So same thing, 7 trail posts. You complete those and earn your camp badge, as well as grades 3-4. And if you're working with all of those grades, we'll talk about some great strategies for using those or mixing up the different trail posts as well. So here it comes. It's pun time. We're going to get ready for some more fun. So Math Campin' is designed to be lots of fun, very engaging, full of learning. And we know that sometimes math can feel intense. That was the bad one. Get it? Intense. So we know a lot of folks, students included, don't love mathematics. And we're kind of out to change that, right? It's one of the reasons we did Math Campin'. We wanted kids to see that math was fun. And that it didn't have to be something that they disliked. So we're going to give this a go. If you're on a computer and you can open up a new window, or if you have your phone nearby, I'm just wondering where you're at in your mathematical journey. So are you down here at base camp? You're just getting started. You're looking for some ideas. Are you already on the trail? And kind of where are you on this trail? Of using mathematics in after school or summer programs, or are you already at the summit? So if you go to this menti.com, and you can do that in a browser, you can do that on your phone, and you enter this code, you should be able to kind of click on the image for where you think you're at on the trail. Darn, Ben. Hang on, let me try. I even tested it this morning. We'll flip over to this one and see. Okay, let's use Plan B, and we'll just have you drop it in the chat. So are you at base camp? Are you on the trail? Let's duplicate this one. So kind of on the trail or base camp. We'll try to get this going. I was excited about this one too. Wait,
Gotta love
okay.
that.
I know, right? I felt so prepared. All right, so I love that we're kind of just starting to think about our mathematical journey. Hopefully by the end of today, you'll either be on the trail or up on your way to the summit. So today, I really hope we can help fill your backpack with lots of great ideas. We'll go through 3 of the trail posts. So some great ways to use those activities to engage students. We'll talk about format, so how you can use Math Camp in. And then we also have some really great family engagement resources. That's one of the things that we're really trying to kind of focus on this year, is adding some of those components as well. So Math Camp in, we kind of talked about, this is one of my favorite ones, just building excitement around mathematics. And that starts pre-K on up into grades 3-4. We know the research says that by grade 3, especially, girls are deciding whether they're good or bad in math and science. And so we were really trying to give kids and educators some strong activities to kind of help keep kids thinking about mathematics and thinking about it in a positive way. We also designed it so that it was a flexible format. So you could use it in a week-long program, an after-school program. You could use it for a full day. You could do an entire day of Math Camp in activities. You can divide it up. And then we also have some online interactive resources. So if you want to send things home, or if you've got kind of access to technology, you could use the digital format as well. And then I talked a little bit about that family engagement component. So we have games and resources to continue to support learning at home after a program concludes, or if you finish Math Camp in, but kids and families still want to keep doing things, they've got some resources to do that as well. And then of course, we love some of the evaluation stuff we've done in mathematics, and Math Camp in really connects to some research we did K-5 and meets some great levels of evidence. So if you're in a program or if you're working in a grant where you need that research base, we certainly can help kind of connect you to some of that as well. All right, so let's get ready to hike the mathematical trail. So you won't probably take so many pictures, but feel free to screenshot or take pictures with your phone of some of the digital activities that we'll do kind of together. And then you'll remember setup or material or answers that we came up with. And then you'll want to make sure you shine the light on where you can engage kids in mathematics. So think about how, especially with the ones we're doing, how using manipulatives to solve tasks really helps kids think through problems. And then record solutions in your camp journal. So if you grab a sheet of paper, you have something handy, this will help you think about how children solve problems. So let's give this first one a go. So this is trail post 3. This is actually one of the first and second grade trail posts. And this is where, we're really trying to get kids to understand that lightning bugs and moths equals the total. So we actually don't use an equal sign here. We're using the balance because we want kids to see some different representations of mathematics. So I'm going to go ahead and say same thing. We're going to give this a try and say if we caught, we're going to say 20 insects. That'll be our total. And you can drop this in the chat. What combinations of lightning bugs and moths would give you the total insects? So go ahead and take a few minutes to do that. We'll see how many combinations we might be able to figure out. So Amber's got it, 10 and 10, 19 and 1. Love that these are coming in. And again, if kids were doing this in person, you might have some counters. You could use just about anything. Rocks would be good because those are used in a different activity. You could use pieces of paper. You could cut those up. Anything that they can kind of manipulate so that they can put, let's say we'll use Lauren's, 8 lightning bugs and 12 moths to equal the 20 insects. What's really great about this activity is you can take it a step further. So as kids are finding different combinations, you're actually finding patterns. So then you can talk about, well, what if you had a total of 40 insects? Can you use what you know about 20 to come up with combinations to 40? You could also use this with younger grades and change the number, or change the number with different kiddos. If you've got if you have a child who's working on counting to 10, you could tell them 10 insects. If you have somebody counting to 50, you could say 50. So the flexibility of this one is great because they can do those different combinations. So this is kind of the first page in kind of their camp journal of Trail Post 3. So they kind of do that activity, and then they come to this page where then they put the number models in. So you would take it kind of to that next step of 11 plus 9 is 20 and come up with different combinations and have some great conversation around this. So I'll give you a minute to kind of just think through a little bit. Do you have questions about this one? Use my wait time. So this is kind of what we call the trail post, right? It's just a really good, what we call meaty task. Kids can really approach it in lots of different ways. So if you have struggling students, they're able to access the problems. If you have gifted, you can change numbers or even think through addition versus multiplication. Again, lots of different ways to use this one. And then of course, once kiddos finish the trail posts, they earn the camp badge. So this is the camp badge for Trail Post 3 in first and second grade. And you'll see that, this one's a triangle, but we'll do 2 more trail posts together so that you can see those. And then we'll talk through what they do with the badges. So make sure I don't forget to do that. So let's look at the research. I'll give you a minute to read this quote from the NCTM, National Council for Teachers of Mathematics. And I'd say all of the Math Camp In lesson activities really allow students to engage in this reasoning, sense making, and problem solving. And that's pretty important. And it's something that all of us collectively, I think, can work on. So classroom teachers are working with this, after school providers are working with this, out of school time, and then families, we kind of have this nice opportunity to do the types of things that support these experiences. It's not always about getting the right answer. In fact, we love when we have a variety of answers, because what we're really trying to do is focus critically on the mathematics and really kind of have deep conversations to get at that reasoning and sense making. This certainly, as we explore some additional trails, you'll start to see where that reasoning, sense making, and problem solving really kind of come together. So we certainly want you to keep this in mind as we continue our hike. And then we love these pieces, right? So kind of, we're always thinking about what are the teachers doing? What are the students doing? So we'll kind of focus in on a couple of these things that connect to that reasoning and sense making. But we do want tasks that don't feel easy, right? We want kids to be problem solving and thinking through something. If it's easy, then they need something a little more challenging. And you know, I love this piece right here about using tools, because the more manipulatives we can give students, or the more opportunities we can give them to represent their thinking with manipulatives, the stronger they become as mathematicians. So, you know, we want them making connections and using tools and justifying their thinking. Those are all phrases that support students being sense makers and problem solvers, which is really what we try to focus in on during Math Camp In activities. And then the flip side, we want to know what we as educators are doing. So, you know, we're motivating and providing opportunities for exploration, and certainly, hopefully, you see that in the next 2 trail posts. And we're not taking over, right? We're trying not to help them solve the problem, but we're trying to be good questioners and thinkers alongside with them. So let's hike. So this is another trail post. This is actually a trail post 6 from our pre-K kindergarten. And that would be good to know too. Can you just kind of drop in the chat what ages you're working with? Give you a minute to drop those in. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so let's focus in on trail post 6. This is kind of a fun one. You can actually use, we actually bought like the stones at the craft store that you put in the flower vase for kids to do this activity. We also online, when you download the resources, we grabbed some graphics of rocks. So take a minute and think about how you might sort the rocks into 2 jars to display. And we'll give you a minute to think through some of those. Then you can drop your ideas in the chat about how you might sort the rocks into 2 jars. So by size, by color, shape, and size. So when you say by size or by shape, what are some of the specifics around that? What types of sizes or shapes do you see? I see round and smooth, bumpy and sharp. Darker versus lighter. These are great. And at this trail post, like I said, you could have real rocks, you could have kids go on a rock hunt or bring a rock. and then kids can sort those into the 2 jars. This is the image you'll see in their journal. And then of course, we want to take it to the next step on how does that change if you sort into 3 jars? So I thought that image was on here too, but we'll pretend like a 3rd jar is here. Now think through, how does it change your sort? How would you sort now if you were sorting into 3 different jars? Large, medium, and small. And you of course could describe those. Color. Do you have specific colors, Rachel, that you see? Awesome. So kind of getting even more specific. And again, having kids describe their sort, talk about their sort, compare sorts, those are all great strategies that you can use at this trail post. All right, we won't try Menti, we'll just stay in the chat. So disappointed. But let's take a minute to think about the following stop and jot. So you've seen 2 trail posts. How are you thinking about how the trail posts keep students engaged in mathematical thinking? So go ahead and drop some ideas into the chat from the 2 that you've seen so far. How are you thinking about those trail posts and how they're connected to mathematics? I love that, hands-on, absolutely. Awesome. I love the real world application. You could definitely, I love the idea of going on a rock hike. Lauren, you're spot on there. Like, I think the camping theme just really pulls the kids in, and they often don't even realize they're doing the mathematics, right? They're just kind of engaged in the activities. And Katie, I think I love your multiple answers idea. So that's one of the things that I think we really try to push, is having activities that have a lot of different ways to solve problems and a lot of different solutions. And that really just keeps that mathematical conversation at such a high level. Right, so we will celebrate your next, I'll even do some confetti here. We'll celebrate your next camp badge. So this is, again, this is Trail Post 6. You won't get all your badges today, but you certainly can, start your collection. And so, math rocks, the puns, we're all about the puns. And again, a different shape. So those will come into play here in just a minute, but again, students are collecting these. We typically just copy the badges on cardstock, and then the kids kind of collect them. We have backpacks that we've gotten from Oriental Trading. We also do some in-house now that go with our family engagement piece. But there are some great little math camp camp backpacks at Oriental Trading, and then they just drop those in there and use them kind of at the end. Yeah, the badges, I think you're spot on. Like, they love the badge idea. All right, we'll continue our hike. So this is a grades 3-4 activity. This is Trail Post 1 from grades 3-4. And I love this one. I think it goes right back to the comment about multiple answers. And finding different ways and different solutions. It also really, for us, highlights using manipulative. So I'm going to drop this link into the chat. You can use it, or we can just kind of, you can also just use a sheet of paper to kind of think through this. If you're using this online with kids, this is a great website that has a lot of digital manipulatives. So I just linked you to Unifix cubes. You almost can drag and drop, but we'll give you a few minutes to think through this one. So this is the squirrels climbing up the tree at camp, and the campers have noticed that each time it goes up the tree, it goes up 6 feet and slides down 1 foot. And so we're wondering how many tries it takes for the squirrel to climb a tree that is it 23? Yeah, 23 feet tall. And then we want kids to show their thinking using models and numbers. So certainly if you're using the Unifix cubes or even just a little sheet of scratch paper, again, we're really trying to get kids to represent their thinking with pictures, numbers, and words. And having lots of discussions. Different manipulatives can show things differently, which is kind of fun. So I'll give you just a few moments to kind of think through this problem. Or if you wanna, you can drop your ideas in the chat about how you might approach solving this problem.
Kelly, did you say there was something, link in the chat?
Yes.
Or no? I don't see a link in the chat unless I'm missing it.
I see you to everyone, and it's, let me try again here. And Katie, I'll send it to you directly because maybe if you post it then, and I'll try one more time. Does anybody see that one?
I don't see it, but maybe I'm the only one that doesn't see it. Oh, they see it. Huh. Oh, never mind then.
I also cannot see it, so maybe it's a 50-50 situation.
That is odd. Well, let me see if I can. I'm trying to think.
I can also share my email and you can just send it to my email if that's easier.
I sent it to you like in a direct message. Did you get that one?
I did not.
Huh.
That's
Well,
odd.
yes, that is odd. Here, let me do this real quick. Just get to see me. I wonder if, does that help? Did we try that one?
I still don't see it.
Huh. All right, I'm gonna drop it here. It's just a little bit. Now we will.
I also just sent my email in case you want to send it to my email.
We'll try this.
Rachel got it. Rachel
Yeah,
loved it.
so weird. All right, let me see here. We're good problem solvers. All right, I added it there to that screen. We'll see if that works. Hopefully you can see it on the screen.
Yes, I can see it on the screen.
Okay. So again, if you want to try the digital version using the Unifix cubes online and you want to open a window, you could do that. Or drop it in the chat thinking about how you might solve the problem if he, of course I put it on the wrong slide for you, that each time he goes up 6 feet and slides down 1 foot.
Kelly, just so you know, we can see.
Oh, you can. I'm on the wrong thing. I just noticed that. See what happens when you when I start to.
Perfect.
There we go. Anybody have thoughts about this one? Use my wait time. Okay. We'll go ahead and award your next camp badge. So again, this one, Trail Post 1, grades 3-4, you climb to the challenge. So again, I love this one because students really come up with some really creative ways about what they think. And because we use the number 23, you could say that the squirrel goes up 6 feet and slides down a foot, and so that's 5. And of course, you have kids who will say, well, 5 and 5 and 5 and 5 and 5, you get 25. But then you'll have kids who say, well, you need an extra 5, or you need less because you don't need 25, you need 23. So they have some really great conversation with this one. It just really opens up what kiddos can do. So again, you saw kind of 3 trail posts. I chose the ones that were a little bit easier to manipulate online virtually, at least we thought they were. And there are 7 for each grade band. So we just put them into grade bands. You are certainly welcome to mix it up, and you could have lots more than just 7. So I'll tell you a little bit about how to get to the resources and then some of the other things that are there. And then we'll talk about formats and have some questions too. So when you go to our website, you'll kind of see these blocks. There are a couple across here that are all Math Campin related. There's the Math Campin Summit, which we'll make sure you know about. The Math Campin Activities, which is right there in the middle, and then Math Campin Games. When you click on this one, you get to this page where you can then start your adventure. So these 3 are where you'll actually find all the trail posts, what we call camp guides. I'll show you that in a minute. You've got the Math Campin Games resources, workshops that we have coming up, family resources, and then free events that we do as well. Let's say we're gonna pretend like we clicked on grades 1, 2. So you've got your camp trail guide, which is basically everything you would need to know how to navigate your camping experience. There are trail post kind of information guides for each activity. So it just gives you kind of the materials you need, which you probably already have 99.9% of what you need. We really tried to make it super simple and shoebox kind of science funding, where you kind of could just gather things for a pretty inexpensive cost. Then you've got kind of what happens at that station, helpful hints. And I say kind of what I love most are these questions to ask at the trail post. So depending on how you use Math Campin, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, this is just a great resource. If you remember kind of when I talked about not necessarily helping kids come to the answer, but we want to have good questions that help them get there, this is already there for you. So super easy to use. You then have your camp journal. So the camp journal you can download it in its entirety, or you can kind of go trail post by trail post. It's totally up to you on how you might want to use it, especially if you've got K4 in your camp and you want to mix it up, then you can, just kind of build your own almost. For grades 1, 2, and grades 3, 4, we have an interactive digital journal. It's on Google Slides. So that's kind of where I said, if you have access to technology and you want to make it kind of an interactive experience, you could use the digital journal. If you use Seesaw, Seesaw's free for educators. So if you use Seesaw, or if you don't use it, you should check it out. You'll see one of them that we've built in Seesaw as well. This is a great way to kind of also use that digital interactive you're kind of gamifying, I guess, almost Math Camp in. So this is what you'll see for every grade band for the most part. The pre-K K has some of the Seesaw links a little bit laid out a little bit differently. So that's kind of the easy way to get, oh, Ben, I love that you are using Seesaw and know it. This is the easy way to get pretty much everything you need to get started with your Math Campin' experience. And then if you remember, we were earning our camp badges along our mathematical trail. And then for pre-K kindergarten, it's important that age is using shapes and putting shapes together. And so we've got kind of a template in the camp journal where they can try to arrange them in a certain shape. The same holds true for grades 1, 2, and grades 3, 4. If you know tangrams, we used tangram pieces. So kids should be able to put these shapes together and form a square. And then what we have kids do is create their own kind of camp shapes. So we've had kids make rabbits. We've had kids use the shapes and make a cabin. There are just a lot of neat ways you can use tangrams. So we kind of wanted to get creative and replicate that. The camp journal, you'll be able to access it and download a printable camp journal. And then, like I said, you saw a couple of the pages, but there's a cover. And then each of the trail posts is pretty much a 2-pager. So they've got 2 pages of activities for each of the trail posts. And we kind of talked about these 2 things. So this is kind of I will say it's one of my favorite interactive activities, where kids use the flashlights and then they hover over the bug jar image to count the number of insects that are in there. And then they add that, whatever quantity they think, they add that to the piece. So this is on the pre-KK. This is flashing fireflies on the Seesaw version. And then I think we also have this for another grade in the Google Slides version. I will tell you, this comes from probably my favorite activity in Math Campin', where we just purchased like a bug stamp, and we took the stamp and we got a blacklight UV ink pad. And so then we stamped that just on a sheet of paper, and we bought UV flashlights. I think I remember there's a picture that I kind of, here it is. So this is where you see the kids, like you don't see the bugs here, but they're there. Once you use the UV flashlight, they kind of appear. And I will say this is probably one of the more popular trail posts. It is quite fun. I really like this one. So we wanted to try to replicate that in the digital version too. Okay, so we're going to try a chat burst, and I used your Ready STEM Go theme. So I'm going to have you type your idea into the chat, but don't hit enter yet. We're all going to hit enter together. So kind of think through for a moment, what successes and challenges do you have when engaging families with programs? And again, just type it in, but don't hit enter. And then we're going to do a chat burst, and I'm going to count us down. Hopefully everybody's got some ideas there. You got 3 seconds to finish your typing. So 3, 2. Are we all ready? 1, go. Now you can hit enter. All right, so I love chat spurs. They're just kind of fun. So we got time, communication, success, take-home activities, busyness, quick drop-off, pickup. I love these. These are great. So one of the things that we really have focused on the past 2 years are ways to engage families in out of school time programs, whether that's after school, whether that's summer. We know that there's such an important role, especially in mathematics, that we don't want to lose that. We really want to kind of harness some of those as well. And so I love Why Kids Club. Your idea about family engagement nights, Math Campin would be a great family engagement night. And it's already kind of done for you, right? We can kind of set up stations, families come in and do those together. And then, like I said, we've got our Math Campin games. And so we have 2 games right now, and then we've got games that were actually on our website as well. So S'MORES is a board game we created, probably best for pre-K kindergarten, where they're really building numbers to 10. And then Graham's Math Mellow Trail is my new favorite. So you've got Graham the pig. He looks like a little graham cracker. You've got Odo the deer and Ursus the bear. They each kind of have a different approach to problem solving, which is kind of fun. And again, that board game helps kids create and think through numbers and combinations as well. Math Campin is also a full day of activities that focus on positive mindsets about math. And then we also have family game night materials and presentations. That's all on our website as well for free. And I love, like, we've got, I think there are 4 different career videos that connect to mathematics. So again, this is where you might do like a Math Campin summit. You might start with that and then do the Math Campin activities. You could do the Math Campin activities and finish with the summit as a celebration. But there are lots of ways to think about how to implement a Math Campin. So you certainly could use it and come if you're in after school programs and you only want to do 1 or 2 trail posts a day, you could do that over the course of a week. You could do a full day Campin, a summer program. There's lots of flexibility. My favorite is probably having older students. I did this with my mom. She was teaching 5th grade. I was teaching 2nd grade, and her 5th graders became experts. They became camp counselors in 2 stations, and then they ran the Math Campin for the younger students. And I tell you, you talk about like positive attitudes about mathematics. They were stoked to be camp counselors and do some of that as well. Or you can blaze your own trail. Find a lot of different ways to use the resources. Again, they're there for free, and then the more the merrier. We'll get to, I've got a few minutes for Q&A here in just a second. I also want to make sure, while we've talked about Math Campin, that we have a couple other programs that are great resources for summer and after school programs. These 2, I'd say, are best. I'd say pre-K through grade 2. So Super Cities has a Super Science. So it's a 4-day, full day program where it's superhero themed, and lots of strategies and resources. Those will be on our website, hopefully here by mid-April. And you gotta love a superhero theme. And then there's also a math and robotics, also superhero themed. And we love this Tiny robot, so quite fun. Again, a 4-day, full day summer program with lots of great resources as well. So with that, I will award you your official camp badge for hiking the mathematical trail during your Ready STEM Go conference. You can tweet this out if you want. Oops. And then I'll just open it up if you've got questions about running a Math Campin or resources, we hope you've had some more fun at this session, learning a little bit about it. And then I'd also say I'll be at the National After School Association conference next week, and I present in person on Monday. So if anybody's going to that, come to the session. All right, questions, thoughts? Hopefully you will go off and blaze a new trail in mathematics.
I had a quick question just about how you guys like put together this material. Was it like curriculum specialists? Was it a specific math need? Like what was the purpose kind of behind it, and how'd you put it together? Because it's great.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually was, I probably shouldn't say this on a recording, but I will. So I was a staff development teacher, and I went to my 4th grade teachers and I was like, I've got this great idea. I want to do a math camp-in, and the kids come back and they spend the night at school, and they were like, I don't think we're ready for that. So then I went to 3rd grade, and 3rd grade just kind of looked at me. And then finally I got to 2nd grade, and they were all in. So there were about 4 of us eventually over the course of the year, hiking with about 100 kids who would then, you know, we kind of did it as we had just adopted a new math program. I think there was a lot of confusion and understanding that we were trying to help with not only teachers and students, but also families. And we really just wanted to celebrate mathematics. We used it in the spring. I think it's a great, like, any time of the year kind of initiative. But we really wanted kids and families to see that math was fun. And so that really was kind of the driver behind just the trail posts and the activities. The board games, I love this story too. So the board games, we were working with a district, and we've always had a family engagement component. And there was a deck of cards that we wanted. It was a subitizing deck of cards where you see like a dot and you know that it's 1, or you see 3 dots and you know it's 3. And of course it was during COVID times. And they were out of stock. So I was like, well, I'm sure we could make our own. And so we came across a website where you could make cards, but you could also make board games. And that's kind of where I was just like, oh, let's make a board game. And so that's where S'mores and Graham's Math Mellow Trail came from. And so we're really focused on the family engagement aspect of this right now. And we really are hoping to add some videos to help families engage kids in mathematics at home. And also just resources that everyone can use to kind of just celebrate the excitement that is in math, especially on Pi Day. Other questions? Got about 5 more minutes officially, but. Well, I will hang out, and I will just say, I'm so glad you came to today's session. Rachel.
Okay, I think I actually have a question from Ben. Any desire to extend?
Okay, there's one. Yes, so Ben, I thought I saw that one come in. So Ben, I'd say yes. We definitely are kind of thinking through older grades. We've got some different programs doing different things. I'd say the grades 3, 4 probably could go to 5th grade and be okay. Beyond that, I think we're thinking through some different strategies for middle school about ways that they could kind of either use it with younger grades or create some trail posts specifically with some content areas in mind, especially kind of algebra, algebraic thinking, and geometry seem to be the ones that we're hearing a lot about. And then I think if you didn't see it, Katie just also dropped in the survey. So if you could fill out the survey before you go, she's got the link in there for you.
Yes, thank you so much, Kelly. And Kelly has a exhibit booth that I put the link in as well if you want to head to the exhibit hall, and you can check out the Teaching and Learning Collaborative with lots of great resources. And I put a couple links up there earlier where you can go see all the really cool math camp-in trail guides, and everything's on the website. That was amazing, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
definitely going to share this with all of my after school.
Yeah,
mates.
and tell them to come to the session next week. I'd love to meet them.
Yes, great.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
I'd say, you know, if you've got questions, please feel free to reach out. You call or email. If you go to, I should say, when you go to use the activities, if you need help kind of thinking through which ones are best for the ages you're working with, we're happy to help with all of that. So, so yeah, happy hiking, happy math, happy Pi Day.
Thank you, Kelly.
Bye.